you have a biology degree.
Correct.
The whole time were you saying, okay, I'm going to be a trainer, or was your trajectory something different, and then you're like, you know what, I think I can make this a career?
No, there was a pivot in my life where I was a trainer right out of high school.
Right.
And when I started getting good at training people, it didn't necessarily make me say, hey, I'm going to do this for a living.
Right.
It just made me feel good about getting people results.
Mm-hmm.
And so I worked with lots of different types of physiques, and I wanted to focus on being able to constantly get them to be the best version of themselves.
Right.
And then what that did was it taught me that it wasn't just the information, it was how you get them to apply your information and how much of it they can digest.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that did. It didn't really tell me, hey man, I'm going to go out there and become this. That came much, much later. So in the beginning, it was just, let me pay my bills.
Right.
Let me do this. And, the story goes, I almost got let go, and, almost got fired.
Mm-hmm.
I literally got pulled in the office, and I said, hey, what's wrong? And they're like, you don't do enough volume. You're not selling enough.
Right.
And I go, what do you mean? He's like, well, you do okay. And I go, so you want to let me go because I'm not doing numbers? He says, no, we want to let you go. And I don't even think it got to the point we want to let you go. We think you would do better if you would listen. And I go, okay, what am I not listening about? He says, you see your hair? You wear your hair down.
Mm-hmm.
You don't tuck your shirt in.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do this. You don't do that. And I'm like, shit, okay. And I got discouraged.
Yeah.
And so, again, I wasn't getting let go, but it was, you don't feel very good after that conversation.
No, yeah, for sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm a teenager, and I'm like, wow, I really like this job. And there was my manager at the time, his name was Chris Maggi.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Maggi and Mark Pauly. And I believe Mark had just given up the general manager. And these people are very famous within the gym community because they either are parts of Mark Masteroff's current organization or they've leveled up. John Romeo, all these guys that I had was like this little teenage trainer.
Right.
And these guys were now have become, have made a lot of money and done very, very well for themselves. Mm-hmm. And they've stuck to it. So I had some really good mentorship. And I remember Mark Pauly had pulled me in and said, look, and this was again at the Sunnyvale Club. And he said, hany rambod, if you want people not to fuck with you anymore, meaning your fitness manager, i.e. Dell, his name was Dell, and anybody else, he goes, you need to write more money. You need to write more gross.
Right.
Because he said, service is king, but gross is godly.
Mm-hmm.
And what ended up happening at that point was I said, okay, the results of my clients mean so much for me.
Right.
But ultimately, being able to connect that with generating revenue for the club will allow me freedom.
Absolutely. Because
now, if I want to walk in 5 minutes, 10 minutes late, and again, that's a bad example because I was always there early because I trained beforehand. But let's just say I wanted to wear my hair down. I didn't want to. I hate shaving.
Mm-hmm.
You see me come in. I barely shave. I shave for you though.
Appreciate it.
I shave for all the people who are watching this thing. But it was one of those things where that was it. But he said, service is king, but gross is godly, and I'll never forget that because what had happened was it taught me that not only are the results of my clients important,
right,
but the financial results of the club and the company are important. And so then I went on a tear. I became the number one trainer, even though I only worked part-time because I was school full-time. Mm-hmm. I became number one grossing trainer, the number one trainer in terms of reviews. I became all this, all while I was a teenager. And it was just again, that pivot, that was the major pivot in my life. And it taught me that you can't just have one aspect of your life being really, really good. Mm-hmm. You have to also be able to balance out with other aspects.
Right.
With this one, with the company, it was the financial aspect. So I can't just turn around and get kick-ass reviews and everyone's like, oh, Hany's a great trainer. Great. But, then all of a sudden, they're like, You don't need to wear that.
Yeah, it's
You
okay.
know, it's okay.
Your hair looks great.
Yeah, they're like, bro, what do you put in your hair? It's great. Dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, your shirt untucked. I think that's a real good look.
Yeah,
So it just gave me the freedom. It really did. And that's where I realized the financial aspect of it creates choices, and choices creates freedom. Right. And that's when I really was able to, for the first time, connect the dots financially, and in regards to results of my clients, helped.
Let me ask you. So you got great results with the clients. When was FST7 born? Were you using it then, or when was that implemented into your history? So you're known for